Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with your Junior Hockey Morning Show. We are on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, your living room, your car, your phone, your computer. It's Monday. I'm alive. Okay. Long weekend, a lot of hockey, a lot of Sonia singing. I think Tommy and Sonia were at 4 masses yesterday. 4 masses. We had a special guest in town. What's her name?
Val Lamar Jensen.
Val Lamar Jensen. Fantastic person. Not too sure why she's famous, but she is definitely charismatic. Had her whole church up dancing, acting like fools yesterday. Very good. Leafs are in New Jersey tomorrow night. Pretty eventful weekend of North American Hockey League action. Today we're going to talk about the NAHL Central Division. Tomorrow we'll hit another one, and then Wednesday something else, and then Thursday something else. This will be our storyline, our schedule between now and the end of the playoffs. Kind of condense things a little bit. That's what happens when readers come to me and say, you know what, this is getting a little stale. Let's change it up a little bit. And then the marketing and syndication guys want a 15-minute show. The hockey coaches want a 6-hour show. We got to meet somewhere in the middle. So here we are. You guys want deeper looks and more opinion? God forbid. Well, that's going to happen today. So the NAHL report will be split into 4 days. The hopes of getting closer looks at each of the teams and more. Are you ready? We got to do this. Break down 6 teams in 15 minutes. All right. This will be fun. North American Hockey League Central Division number 1, the Austin Bruins. 30-12, 3-4, .684 win percentage. Steve Howard's Bruins rebounded from Friday's 4-1 loss at Bismarck with a solid 7-1 thumping on Saturday. That result opens up a 14-point lead in the Central Division ahead of Aberdeen. The bus rose to the Dakotas this week when the Bruins visit the Wings in Aberdeen. That's going to be a big series. The Bruins are playing good hockey, but it's kind of hard to stay focused when you're 14 points ahead. Ask Maryland. They were at that point, or maybe a little bit bigger, earlier in the season. That's come down to 7 games. They lost a little bit of the edge. If there's anything I know about Steve Howard, he'll bring a samurai blade to the locker room to teach these kids not to lose their edge. Maybe that's not right. Maybe not a blade. Skate sharpener. A little high-pitched yelling. Whatever it takes. And I'm sure that's the case on Friday night, because there's no way they should have got beaten like that. And that showed on Saturday, right? You wonder what he fed those kids after Friday night's game. What was the discussion in the hotel room on Saturday morning like? I would say pretty intense. Howard's a likable enough guy. I don't think I want to piss him off, though. And you know after Friday, that's exactly what happened. He was hot. He had to be. The trick, I think, for Austin this week is to go to Aberdeen, play your game. Don't get off track. Don't get caught up in what Aberdeen's doing. Play your game, and things will work out. Speaking of the Aberdeen Wings, 24-19, 3-2, .552 win percentage. Scott Langer's Wings were beaten at home by Minot Friday before taking Saturday's contest 6-1. Kind of the same boat, right? Scott Langer is a very intense guy, not as maybe a little more quiet and reserved than Steve Howard's going to be. Langer is the professional. Not saying that Howard's not, but the way Langer handles a big loss on Friday and the way Howard does it are probably two entirely different set of circumstances. I would imagine Langer didn't say too much in the locker room after Friday game and gave his team the cold shoulder. Maybe he took an Uber back to the hotel. Maybe let his team know that he's not happy by simply ignoring those kids. I'm speculating, of course. Don't have Scott's ear today. Maybe I do later on. But styles are different. The results are the same. Aberdeen was able to bounce back from that loss and do a very good job on Saturday. But that's what winners do. They persevere. They don't let one night affect the other too much. It happens. But these two guys know how to coach. Langer is probably, at this point, the winningest coach in the North American Hockey League active right now. Maybe there's a couple of guys close, but Langer's got to be on top of that list or pretty close to it. And that says a lot. Good coaches get the job done. Good coaches have a big picture look at the season, not, overanalyzing game to game or shift to shift. Langer's one of those guys. Big picture guy. Overall result, that's what matters. Aberdeen struggled earlier this year under Steve Jennings. You got to like what Langer's been able to do to turn that around. Now the expectation is that they win, is that they are successful. And I believe this team is meeting that expectations more times than not. Is it done yet? No. There's still a lot of work to be done. And this team very well could end up in last place. But right now they're not. Right now they're in second place. And that's more about Scott Langer than anything else. Speaking of great coaches, number 3, St. Cloud Norseman. 23-19, 3-4, 5-41 win percentage. Corey Milne and the Norsemen picked up a trio of points in 3-game series with North Iowa. St. Cloud is now just a pair of points ahead of the Bulls in the division's 3rd position, going to this weekend's games at home against Bismarck. All right. Corey has been forced to sit out a long suspension. He's been coaching from the cheap seats, and that's not easy. I believe he may be back this week, Tommy. Pretty sure. If he is, Corey, got to put a lid on it, bud. I'm sure you know that. I'm sure that it would be really smart to put a GoPro camera on the box somewhere in your bench so we can record what the hell's going on and the communication between the coach and the referees. So you got some kind of backup. Maybe the league's going to frown upon that. Maybe the referees won't like that. But there's got to be something, because it's clear that the Norsemen and really their 3HL team in Wilmer and Alexandria are facing a weird kind of backlash. There seems to be an us versus them mentality, an Oakland Raiders mentality with the Norsemen this year, where they're playing against the opposing team, the referees, the league, and everybody else on the planet. Keep doing that because it's working. St. Cloud's winning. This weekend series is going to be interesting. There's a lot of buttons that Bismarck punches when they play against St. Cloud. And I'm sure this weekend will not be any exception. Corey Milne and his crew has got to be able to keep the third party out of this game, out of this series, and persevere and play their game. Do that, it'll be a good weekend. Number 4, North Iowa Bulls, 23-21, 2-1, 531 win percentage. Todd Sandon's Bulls are now a single point ahead of Minot in the 4th playoff position after taking 2 or 3 games against St. Cloud. North Iowa has a chance to widen that gap when they visit Minot this weekend. I really did not expect the Bulls to take 2 or 3 from Corey Millen. Yes, one of the games was in overtime, but still, those games were big. Big for North Iowa. They were able to pick up some points in the standings. They could have went into that series and tanked and probably pushed themselves really out of playoff contention. But that's not what happened, was it? Those boys persevered. Those boys busted through. Those boys were not going to handle or put up with being put into the closet. This team's bound to stay in this playoff race, and they proved that with that effort over the weekend. Listen, beating St. Cloud 2 out of 3 games, that was an accomplishment. North Iowa can hang their hat on that one. There's still a lot of work to be done, but North Iowa is now directly in the midst of things in this division, and they could have easily checked out. They're not doing that, are they? Minot Monotauros, 24-22, 1-1, 521 win percentage. This division's hot as a firecracker. Any momentum that Cody Campbell's Monotauros may have built up after Friday's 4-2 win at Aberdeen was squashed in Saturday's 6-1 loss. The Toros will have a chance to put a bit of distance between themselves and fourth place North Iowa when they visit Mesa Arena this weekend. Look at this series with North Iowa is epic. Epic. North Iowa takes it, and Minot can be on the outside looking in. Look for a big series this weekend. That one will be huge. Let's go back to Bismarck. 500 team, 21-21, 4-2 in the cellar of the division, but not really, right? How many points separate Bismarck from second place Aberdeen? Not too many. Lane's Bobcats took down the division-leading Bruins at home Friday before getting hit with a 7-1 loss to that same Austin team on Saturday. Bismarck has the chance to get back into the thick of the playoff picture when they visit St. Cloud this weekend. Look at, there's no easy games in this division. We talk about it year after year. This division is stacked, no doubt. Coaches are phenomenal. The Central Division doesn't need the rest of the North American Hockey League. They can stand alone, and they're proving that. This could be a league on its own and be fine. And maybe that's the way it should go. Because in this division, the game is played. It's played fast, it's played furious, and it's intense. Every single game is intense. Every matchup, anything can happen. Ask Austin. Ask Aberdeen. These guys are facing division opponents, and if you don't go to work with your belt on, you're going to get punched. You're going to lose. You're going to be embarrassed. That's the case every single night in the Central Division. There are no nights off. You've got to be ready. You've got to be prepared. You've got to understand that there's no letting up each and every night in this division. And I think that's why the Central Division and somewhat in the Midwest Division, but the Central Division is an incredible place to develop college hockey players because you have to bring that same intensity to college hockey next year or the year afterwards. In the North American Hockey League, each division has its own flavor, its own style of play, and we get to see that mixed up a little bit at the showcase and at the end of the season. And what New Jersey did last year kind of surprised me. But that wasn't the norm, was it? Folks, good show today. 15 minutes. We got it in. Tommy, you guys have a great day in hockey and enjoy your morning coffee.